Hello, good evening. My name is Debbie Jacobs, and I wanted to do a video today, a personal video on myself. Who am I? And what am I doing? Why am I posting videos on YouTube? Well, basically, my name is Debbie Jacobs. Just a person from New York. I grew up in Westchester County, which is a nice area. And then I, lived in the corporate world for many years. Well, not lived. I worked in the corporate world for many years. And I did human resources. I have a master's degree. And then I hit a point where things in my life got really bad, like really bad. I lost my job. I was in a date rape situation. And then my father passed away. And let me tell you something, that's really hard to deal with when you are operating with negative thinking, negative, ineffective coping skills, and low self esteem. And depression, anxiety, and bipolar. I had a clinical diagnosis for most of my adult life, and coping was not my strong point at all. And that made everything that I dealt with a lot harder for me. I had huge anger problems. I obviously had anxiety. I had fear to talk to people. Why would I ever have fear to talk to people? I felt bad about myself. I thought that I automatically assumed that people wouldn't like me. This is all they say, like the mental illness or the depression, the bipolar speaking. But really, it was, negative conditioning and a combination of my experiences from my life. Why would I ever think that people wouldn't like me? But I did, because I had negative beliefs and negative thinking. So, of course, I'm sooner going to think that people don't like me than they do. And I really struggled with this, never making any change. And I struggled with a lot of problems, never making any change, my depression, anxiety, and bipolar. And then I hit a point where it was too much for me to not address these problems. These problems were like literally killing me. They were like, I had all these bricks that I was carrying through my life. And I needed to unload these bricks so I could operate because they were creating me problems in my life and in my happiness. So basically, I lost my job, I lost my dad, and I was healing from the date rape situation, and I was determined to work on myself to not so that I was no longer in my way in any way. And I was committed and determined to making that happen, to fixing myself. Because let me tell you something, when I was in the date rape situation, what I realized is that I was missing assertiveness that I needed. I didn't have the assertiveness to handle a situation that I ended up getting, a very bad situation. So I said, you know what? I'm vowing to change myself for my own happiness, and I did. And I basically, I saw a meme that said, "Choose being happy over being right." And I said, I will, because I want to be happy. I don't care about being right. I didn't want to be right. Being right wasn't working for me. And so for me, that meant that I had to accept being wrong. And I said, okay, I will accept being wrong. I will be wrong. And basically, I created a whole healing process around this where we just fix within ourselves what we think is right, but actually doesn't work for us, doesn't serve us, and works against us. And we accept that what we are doing is wrong, and then we make positive change, and we find the effective way of being so that moving forward we can stop with what's wrong and start operating in ways that serve our highest good. That's right. And when we go through all of our behaviors, our thinking, our words, our beliefs, our coping skills, and start to recognize where we are wrong. Let me tell you something. I already did all the work. I'll tell you, we are wrong to feel insecure about ourselves. We are wrong to feel bad about ourselves. We are wrong to feel shame or guilt. We are wrong to put ourselves down in any way. We are wrong to use anger, as a means to get what we want. We are wrong to let fear run our life. We are wrong to stay in our comfort zone. We are wrong to be jealous of somebody else. There's a lot of behaviors that are wrong that don't serve us. We are wrong to be people pleasers. We are wrong to sabotage ourselves. We are wrong not to love ourselves. We are wrong not to believe in ourselves. We are wrong not to have patience. There's a lot of our behaviors are wrong. And let me tell you something. There was a lot of good about me. A lot of good. But the good isn't the problem. The bad is the problem. We are wrong to have low self-esteem. We are wrong to fight. Fighting is an ineffective way of being. And really, when we go to argue, that should be our cue. Okay, to stop and pull back, so we don't get in a fight. Nothing is worth fighting over. You ruin friendships, you ruin relationships, you ruin marriages, you ruin children, you ruin people over fighting. And that's wrong. And what is the right way to handle a situation without fighting? Boundaries, being solution oriented, problem solving skills, conflict resolution skills. That's the way you handle a conflict, a disagreement. Respecting people's opinions, having patience, having empathy, not fighting. So basically, through the process of being wrong, we can make a lot of positive change, but we have to go through the very difficult, process or threshold of being wrong. We have to be wrong first before we can make positive change and accept that we are wrong. And it's okay to be wrong. It's okay. It is okay to be wrong, because when we are wrong, you know what that means? That means we just have to fix it. Okay, I'm wrong. What did I do and how do I fix it? But unfortunately, when children are taught, what is wrong by punishment, and you associate negative consequences or pain and, or create fear or anxiety or worry around being wrong, that's going to traumatize them. And now we have a bunch of adults who don't know how to be wrong because they developed an ineffective coping, way to deal with being wrong. And you know how they deal with being wrong? By not being wrong at all. They have defense mechanisms. They deny it. They blame someone else. They lie. They don't accept responsibility. This is what people do instead of being wrong, and they try and dodge it, deflect it, like there's a whole slew, blame it on somebody else. There's a whole slew of coping, of defense mechanisms to protect us from being wrong because we don't want to get in trouble. So this process that I created of being wrong is that everything is okay. You're not going to get wrong. To be wrong. Heal process that restores and love to the foundation of our being, where there is hurt from punishment, invalidation, verbal abuse, and because our flaws stem from hurt, and replacing those flaws with effective ways of being that come from a positive perspective, a solution-oriented perspective, and a means to have a positive outcome, not a negative outcome. This is how we awaken our beautiful, authentic self and get out of our mental illness. Because when we accomplish positive thoughts, positive effective coping skills, and healthy self-esteem, that is our authentic self, who we are meant to be. And our mental illness is the negative thoughts, negative ineffective coping skills, and low self-esteem. Mental illness does not exist in positive thoughts, positive effective coping skills, and healthy self-esteem, because that is our authentic self, the self that we are meant to be. And you can only accomplish it by going through the process of being wrong. And I'm going to tell you, people will say, oh no, you can't, I'm a positive thinker. we all have a way, we all have the ability to be, or negative thinkers have the ability to also be positive thinkers, because there's a good side and a bad side to all of us. But that actually means that you're still a negative thinker, not because of your positive thoughts, but because of your negative, ineffective coping skills. And through the process of being wrong and transformation of self, when we change our negative ineffective coping skills to positive effective coping skills, then we go from good bad to good good. So basically there's no bad side in a positive thinker, and that is our authentic self in the spiritual awakening. And mental illness doesn't exist in positive thoughts. It never has. It stems from negative thinking and hurt. And with positive thinking, you cannot operate in positive thoughts, with hurt. You're still in your negative thinking. It is a very challenging process, going from the mental illness self to the beautiful authentic self, from the negative mind to the positive mind. But your freedom and happiness is at stake, and your quality of life. So I really encourage people to pay attention. We have one life. Wake up. This is the process of waking up. And anybody who says, that they are up, they are not, because they haven't gone through the process of being wrong. And the process of being wrong specifically is the way that we get out of the ego self. Because what is ego ruled by? Ego is ruled by being right. So being wrong is the kryptonite to the ego self. It creates the ego death. And also, when we go through the process of being wrong and learn effective coping skills to deal with being wrong, we learn to validate ourselves when we are wrong. And when we validate ourselves when we are wrong, we develop self-validating skills, the key, behavior. You can only do that through the process of being wrong. Because what being wrong is doing, the process of being wrong, it's developing an effective coping skill of being wrong to replace the ineffective coping skill that was created from punishment during the course of our development in our childhood. So being wrong is actually pretty significant. It's pretty important, because it allows us to make the changes that we need to make for our own well-being, our own happiness, our own quality of life, for our awakening, and to get out of mental illness and our ego self. My ego self was depression, anxiety, and bipolar. My authentic self is Debbie Jacobs, the person I was meant to be. If I never ended up in mental illness, I could have lived my whole life like this, and I didn't, because I was unconscious like everyone else. And then I went through the spiritual awakening, awoke in my authentic self, and this is the person that I'm meant to be. And what I'm trying to do is to avoid the whole process of losing consciousness just to have the awakening. Now I want to go back to childhood and say we need to make positive change so people don't lose consciousness. And that positive change so people don't lose consciousness. And that process is the awakening process of being wrong. Parents need to be wrong to awaken their beautiful, authentic self, so their children never lose consciousness, because parents need to be in their beautiful, authentic self when they raise their children. And you're not in your beautiful, authentic, and they raise their children. And you're not in your beautiful, authentic self with negative thoughts, negative, ineffective coping skills, and healthy self-esteem. And to get out of, and to accomplish healthy self-esteem from low self-esteem is through the process of being wrong. So I just wanted to put this out there. Being wrong. So I just wanted to put this out there. This was something that, even though I have a background in corporate America, I have a master's degree in HR management, I never thought that I would be a life coach. But going through my own healing process for my own benefit, for my own healing process for my own benefit, for my own happiness and love, I recognize that I did something very valuable, and I'm putting it out there, to teach other people for their healing, their happiness, their quality of life in their one life. right? We have one their quality of life in their one life, right? We have one life to live. We have one life to live. And let me tell you something. We are actually meant to live in freedom and happiness. So, all right, my name is Debbie Jacobs. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.